Hey everyone, welcome to Clarity English Podcast. I'm Emma, and wow, do we have a challenging topic for you today, prepositions.
Hi, friends. I'm Mike. Today's episode comes straight from multiple viewer requests in our comments. So many people asked about in, on, and at.
Seriously, these three prepositions confuse learners at every level. We got dozens of comments saying these words make no sense.
So we decided to dedicate this entire episode to breaking down in, on, and at completely. No more confusion after today.
If you've been struggling with these prepositions, this episode is for you. And if it helps you, please subscribe to our channel.
Also, if there's another English topic you're confused about, leave it in the comments. We read every single one and create videos based on your requests.
Now, let's be honest. These three prepositions are tricky because the rules seem random, but there actually is logic behind them.
Once we show you the logic, these words will finally make sense. Let's dig in and break down the confusion together.
All right, here's the thing about in, on, and at. They all describe position or location, but in different ways.
Think of it this way. At is a point, very specific, very small location, like pressing a pin on a map.
On is a surface, something sitting on top of something else, a book on a table, a picture on a wall.
And in is inside or contained within something, like being inside a box, inside a room, inside a car.
So at is a point, on is a surface, and in is inside. That's your foundation. Let's build from there.
Let me give you examples of each to make it crystal clear in your mind.
At the bus stop, you're standing at a specific point. At the corner, at the entrance, very specific location.
She's at the doctor's office, a specific building or place. They arrived at the airport, very specific location.
At the entrance, at the gate, at the beach. When it's a specific meeting point or location, use at.
Also, at works for events. At the concert, at the party, at the wedding. You're at a specific event location.
And at works for addresses. I live at 123 Main Street. The exact address is the specific point.
Here's important. At is used for specific times, too. At 3 o'clock, at noon, at midnight, specific points in time.
So at is for specific points in space and specific points in time. Both use the same preposition.
At the station, at the top of the hill, at the center of the circle, all specific points or locations.
Now let's explore on. This preposition describes surfaces, something resting on top of something else.
On is your surface preposition. If something is sitting on a surface, you're looking at that contact point.
On the table. The book is on the surface of the table. On the wall. On the floor. Something on a surface.
Also, on works for routes and paths. On the road, on the path, on the highway. You're traveling on a surface path.
And on works with days of the week. On Monday. On Tuesday. On Friday evening. The day is like a surface you're on.
That's why you don't say in Monday, you say on Monday, different from time itself.
Also, on time means arriving exactly when expected. On the phone means talking on a telephone device.
On television, on the internet, on the news. These all use on because they're like surfaces you access.
On a boat, on a plane, on a train, you're on these vehicles because you're on their surface, basically.
See the pattern? On is for surfaces, routes, days, and things that feel like you're traveling on them.
Let's explore in. This preposition describes being inside or contained within something, very different from on.
In means inside. You're enclosed or contained in something. Think of it as boundaries around you.
In the house, in the room, in the car. You're enclosed or contained in something.
In the box, in the bag, in the building. If something encloses or contains you, use in.
Also, in works for larger areas. In the city, in the country, in France. Larger geographic areas use in.
This is important. In the USA, but at the Statue of Liberty. USA is a large area. In, Statue of Liberty is specific. At.
And in works with months and years. In January, in 2024, in the spring, these are larger time periods.
So on is for specific days, but in is for months, years, and seasons, different levels of time specificity.
In the hospital, in the office, in the kitchen. If you're inside a building, usually use in.
In the school, in the church, in the library. Buildings and enclosed spaces typically take in.
Also, in bed, in the water, in the air. These show being inside or surrounded by something.
In line, in a row, in the crowd, surrounded by or part of a group uses in.
Let's look at some tricky exceptions and special cases. These confuse learners because they don't follow the pattern.
Good question. Prepositions in English have exceptions. Let's explore the most confusing ones.
At home uses at, not in, even though home is a building. Why? Because at home is an idiom, a fixed expression.
Same with at work. Even though you're inside a building, you say at work, not in work.
At school is another. The children are at school. This is an idiom, location of activity, not the building itself.
At the hospital can mean you're visiting someone. In the hospital means you're a patient there. Different meanings.
That's subtle but important. She's at the hospital suggests visiting. She's in the hospital suggests she's a patient.
In the street uses in, not on, surprisingly. They were playing in the street, not on the street.
But on the street is also used differently. My house is on the street means it faces the street. Subtle difference.
In a car, but on a bus. Why? This confuses everyone. Smaller vehicles use in, larger public ones use on.
In a taxi, in a truck, in a jeep. But on a bus, on a train, on a plane. The size matters.
Also, in the picture, but on the wall. The picture itself is in the picture, but the physical object is on the wall.
These exceptions exist because English has historical and cultural reasons, but learning them helps you sound natural. Now let's talk about how in, on, and at change meanings slightly depending on context. Same word, different meanings.
This is where it gets really interesting. The same preposition can mean different things in different contexts.
At the top, in the middle, on the side. These show position but use different prepositions for different reasons.
At the front uses at because front is a specific point. In the back uses in because back is an area or region.
In town means somewhere in the town area. At town wouldn't work, but at the town center works for the specific point.
In the country means rural areas generally. At the countryside isn't really used. Context changes which preposition works.
On the ground versus in the ground. On the ground means on the surface. In the ground means buried, inside the earth.
Different meanings. The book is on the ground versus the seeds are in the ground. Subtle but important difference.
At the table means you're dining or working there. In the table would be inside the table, which is weird.
On the table means on the surface. At the table means seated at it. Same physical location, but different prepositions, different meanings.
Let's do a practical exercise. I'll describe a location. You tell me which preposition is correct.
Practice makes these prepositions automatic. Once you practice, you'll choose correctly without thinking.
Scenario 1. You're standing waiting for a bus. Which preposition? I'm waiting, blank, the bus stop.
At. It's a specific point location. I'm waiting at the bus stop. Very specific meeting location.
Scenario 2. A book is sitting in front of you. Which preposition? The book is blank, the table.
On. It's on the surface of the table. The book is on the table, touching the surface.
Scenario 3. You're inside a building. Which preposition? I'm blank the office building.
In. You're inside the building. I'm in the office building, contained within it.
Scenario 4. You're thinking about a specific day. Which preposition? I was sick blank Tuesday.
On. Days of the week use on. I was sick on Tuesday, not in Tuesday.
Scenario 5. You're at a large city. Which preposition? I live blank New York City.
In. Large geographic areas use in. I live in New York City, not at New York City.
Scenario 6. You're at a very small location at the top. Which preposition? Meet me blank the top of the stairs.
At. Specific points use at. Meet me at the top of the stairs. Very specific location.
Scenario 7. Something is on a vehicle. Which preposition? We're traveling blank the train.
On. Large public transportation uses on. We're traveling on the train, not in the train.
Scenario 8. You're at a university. Which preposition? I study blank the university.
At. Universities are special locations. I study at the university. This is an idiom, location of activity.
Scenario 9. A person is inside a vehicle. Which preposition? He's sleeping blank the car.
In. Smaller vehicles use in. He's sleeping in the car, not on the car.
Scenario 10. Something is sitting on top. Which preposition? The cat is blank the roof.
On. It's on the surface of the roof. The cat is on the roof. Good job, everyone.
Let's explore how these prepositions combine with time expressions. This is another challenging area.
Time is interesting because in, on, and at are all used but for different time scales.
At for specific times. At 3 o'clock. At noon. At midnight. Very specific moments use at.
On for days and dates. On Monday. On January 15. On Christmas Day. Specific days use on.
In for longer periods. In January. In 2024. In the morning. In the summer. Longer periods use in.
This is important. In the morning means during the morning period. At morning isn't correct.
At night is interesting, though. Night is an exception. At night uses at, even though it's a time period.
So, in the morning, afternoon, evening, but at night. That's an idiom, a special case to remember.
Also, at the weekend in British English. American English says on the weekend. Regional difference.
In a minute means soon, within a minute. At the minute means right now, this moment.
These time combinations are worth practicing because they appear constantly in everyday English.
Let's create some memory devices to help you remember these 3 prepositions forever.
Memory tricks stick in your brain better than rules. Let's create some visual associations.
For at, think of a tiny pin on a map. At is pointing at one exact spot, specific, precise, a point.
Or think at is like the letter A pointing to a specific location. That visual helps me remember.
For on, imagine something sitting on a table. You can see the contact point. It's on a surface, on top.
Or on has 2 O's, and they sit on top of each other. One O on another O, surface to surface.
For in, think of in being inside the letter I, trapped inside, surrounded, like being in a box.
Or in stands for inside. They share letters. If you remember in equals inside, you've got it.
These silly memory tricks actually work. They stick because they're visual and funny.
Once these images stick, you'll choose the right preposition automatically in conversation.
Let's talk about why these prepositions are so important for English communication.
Understanding in, on, and at affects not just correctness, but also how native speakers perceive you.
Wrong prepositions sound like a non-native speaker. Native speakers notice immediately.
I'm in the bus sounds wrong to English speakers. I'm on the bus sounds natural and correct.
She lives at the city sounds very wrong. She lives in the city sounds natural and correct.
These prepositions are so fundamental that getting them right matters for your overall fluency. And here's bonus. Mastering in, on, and at helps you understand other prepositions better.
Once you see the pattern with these three, learning other prepositions becomes easier.
Let's look at some real-world sentences using these prepositions correctly. Context helps understanding.
Real examples show how these prepositions function in actual English communication.
I'll meet you at the coffee shop tomorrow at 3 o'clock on Saturday. All three prepositions in one sentence.
At the coffee shop, specific location, at 3 o'clock, specific time, on Saturday, specific day, all correct.
Another. The painting is hanging on the wall in the bedroom at eye level. Again, all three.
On the wall, surface, in the bedroom, inside, at eye level, specific point, natural combination.
I left my phone in the car on the passenger seat at the grocery store. Three prepositions working together.
In the car, inside, on the seat, surface, at the store, specific location, all make sense together.
See how they work together? Understanding one helps you understand the others in context. Let's wrap up by reviewing everything we've learned about in, on, and at today.
Summary time. Let's consolidate the key concepts everyone needs to remember.
Key point 1. At is for specific points or small, precise locations. At the corner, at the entrance, at the station.
Key point 2. On is for surfaces, things sitting on top of something, on the table, on the wall, on the floor.
Key point 3. In is for inside or large areas, inside a building or geographic area, in the house, in the country, in Paris.
Key point 4. Days of the week use on Monday, on Tuesday, not in the day.
Key point 5. Months, years, seasons use in January, in 2024, in summer, longer periods.
Key point 6. Specific times use at 3 o'clock, at noon, very precise time points.
Key point 7. Remember the exceptions. At home, at work, at school are idioms, even though they're buildings.
Key point 8. Small vehicles use in, car, taxi. Large transportation uses on, bus, train, plane.
Practice these prepositions constantly. Notice them in everything you read and hear in English.
Thanks so much for watching this episode. We really hope the confusion about in, on, and at is now clear.
If you found this helpful, please subscribe to our channel. New episodes come out regularly.
And remember, if there's a specific grammar topic confusing you, leave it in the comments.
We genuinely read every comment and create videos based on what you ask for. Your feedback matters.
Keep practicing these prepositions in your daily English. The more you use them, the more automatic they become.
You're doing amazing work learning English. Stay consistent, stay curious, and keep improving every day.
Take care, friends. See you in the next episode of Clarity English Podcast.
Take care, everyone. Master in, on, and at, and your English communication will be much clearer.